Our political roundtable tonight, Ross Perot. He's back, just when you thought it was safe. It was interesting, you know, when you were talking about Bob Dole, on the very night that he clinched the Republican nomination last Tuesday, there was Perot going on radio saying, well, it looks like I might be back.
In the vernacular, Ross Perot is a media hound. And I'm convinced that he's the figment of our collective imaginations. He got 19% of the vote, 92, but I've been traveling around the country for 2 months, and no one has come up to me and said, I'm for Perot. It's amazing to me that whenever he sees the media getting away from him, he finds a way to jump in front of the cameras.
Well, you know, I don't think he's completely a figment of our imaginations, although Andy Kohut did a poll recently where he asked people, who did you vote for in 92, and miraculously, a lot of Perot's vote has disappeared. People won't say they voted for him. It's down to 11%. But look, I think that if he does run again, he probably, pollsters say, will get into the double digits, not necessarily as high. The question for me that I think is interesting is he going to have the same effect? You know, he had two factors last time. He was an anti-incumbent force, but he also drew a lot of formerly Republican voters. So I don't know if he hurts the Republicans as much this time. Yeah. He might also hurt Bill Clinton.
And I disagree a little bit. I'm not sure he will get into the double digits. I mean, if you look at the poll numbers, in October of 1992, 50% of the American public had a favorable opinion of Ross Perot. Today, that's down to about 25%. So that's a big, big change.
It's still a protest vote.
Second, there was a poll out today. Now, you got to be careful with all these polls, but there's a poll out today in USA Today that showed that he could draw as many votes from Clinton as he does from Dole. So he might not have much of an effect on how the
I think it's even more complicated than that. I think we have to remember a name that we probably couldn't believe would be in this race, but Ralph Nader. The White House is actually worried about Ralph Nader being on the Green Party ticket, especially in California,
right.
Because he's polling at 6% out there. If it's a close race and you assume that most of Nader's vote would come from Clinton, then that could really reverse in a must-win state for the president.
If we're going to get it really complicated, then Pat Buchanan has not withdrawn. Right. I mean, he's lost the GOP nomination, but he's making noises that he may get in. So that, you know, it really gets really complicated when you start looking at all
One of the
this.
things to remember is that it is possible for a loser to get in. Everybody thinks it's so difficult, but let's remember John Anderson, 1980, just about this stage of the race, was able to get on the ballots in 50 states. And so I don't think that's going to happen, but I think the potential is there. Let me throw this out to you, though. You've got Bill Clinton, who got 43% of the vote. When people are asked, do you think Bill Clinton deserves re-election? Only 41 or 42%. He has never proven that he's a majority president. Can he win without Ross Perot in the race? What do you think, Maura?
Well, I would say I have always felt the answer to that question was no. Just looking at the Electoral College map and the kind of incredible strength that the Republican Party has. But I think Ross Perot probably helps him a little bit. The big difference this time is going to be the Republicans are not going to play footsie with Ross Perot the way they did in 92. They're already going after him hard. And that's going to be their strategy. And he's going to get a whole different kind of ride, both from the media and from the party.
I'll tell you the other thing, and this goes back, Maura, to what you were talking about at the beginning of the show. If nothing happens in the next 4 months, and if the record of the last 2 years is basically zip, that's going to work in Ross Perot's favor. I mean, if he can look at both these guys and say, what have they done for you in the last 2 years?
Yeah, but I think what we have to remember is that a lot will happen over the next 4 months, and we have no idea what it is. No, we don't know, and that will be more important, whatever that will be.
You guys are proving my central thesis. I bet no barroom discussion in America is involving Ross Perot.
Except the one he's in.
Except this one.
And let's remember something else. He's got $2 billion. That buys a lot of satellites, a lot of microphones, a lot of, he doesn't need the press in some ways because he can create his own audience and his own system.